It's very official. Good evening. Welcome to the Thursday, November 16th, 2023 Scarborough Board of Education meeting. Diane, can you please call the attendance?
Sure. Mrs. Gammon?
Here.
Mr. Kelleher?
Here.
Ms. Leong?
Here.
Mrs. Lindstrom?
Here.
Mr. Mayorino?
Here.
Ms. Tarpinian?
Here.
Mr. Peony Huff?
Here.
Mr. Shumway? And Ms. Leisure.
Perfect. Thank you. Could everybody please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Agenda item 4.0 are adjustments to the agenda. I have two adjustments this evening. The first is that I would like to move the agenda item 6.0, the 2023 fall sports recognition above item current 5.0, which is the public comment. And then the second one I would like to add in is maybe it could be a 10.0. I would like to add in just a committee update. So do I have a motion?
So moved. Oh, second.
Is there any discussion? Can we call the vote, please?
Mrs. Gammon?
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher?
Yes.
Ms. Leong?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom?
Yes.
Mr. Mayorino?
Yes.
Ms. Tarpinian?
Yes.
Mr. Peony Huff?
Yes.
Mr. Shumway? And Ms. Leisure.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, our new agenda item 5.0 is the 2023 fall sports recognition. So Mike, I'd invite Mike Legage, our athletic director, to the podium.
Thank you very much. And a little bit about how the fall season went, and we'll get right to it. In the interest of time, we'll start with Coach Murphy, our golf coach.
Thank you, Mr. Legage. Good evening. First of all, I want to publicly thank Willowdale again for letting the kids use the golf course, along with Prout's Neck and the association, and Donnie Prout down to the driving range. As far as the season, we had a terrific regular season. We had 4 all-conference players, 4 all SMAA academic student athletes. We were the SMAA regular season champs. We had the player of the year in Mark Trombley. And he also represented Scarborough in the New Englands. As far as the states, we fell short, but I'm very proud of this group. It's one of the best groups in all the years I've coached, not only talent-wise, but just their behavior. These kids were first class student athletes, great attitudes, and better yet, they were just terrific students and represented the town in so many great ways. So it makes coaching a pleasure to be around them. So I thank you guys very much for allowing me to coach again. Thank you.
Okay, and Coach Harmon with cross country.
Hello, and thank you for having us here. I'd like to thank the boosters for cross country and track. They do so much for us. The athletic department, Tom, Heather, Jordan, Mike, always there for us, anything we need. And of course, the parents and our athletes. And I'm also here for the girls cross country, not just the boys. And I think we feel the same in that as far as so many people helping put the pieces together here. As far as the season went, the girls, they actually more than doubled their numbers as far as participation from last year. They had 5 seniors that were all academic. The team improved with each meet, and senior Kylie Record also earned SMAA first team honors, and also went to the state meet, qualified for the state meet, as did junior Rowan Driscoll, and they both competed there. All the girls helped with the volunteering at the main marathon, some community service, and we inaugurated our new home course at Peterson Field. So Coach Curry couldn't be here tonight, so that's why I'm speaking on her behalf. As far as the guys, it was a tremendous season. One of our captains here, one of our captains sitting there also. These guys, it was such a pleasure. Great student athletes, such a pleasure to coach them. And I think this is the first time, oh geez, in 40-something seasons that I've been coaching that I actually had to put the brakes on them, meaning they wanted to run even more. Usually it's difficult to get them to run enough. And they just always wanted to run more. And it's like, well, I think 10 miles is enough for today. And, you know, and then they still sometimes went over that, didn't they, Kobe? And Landon, yeah. No, just a great team. We were seeded to finish 7th in the state. That was from August. In the beginning, we did pretty well, but our goal was to make it all the way to the states and maybe do even more. Our number one contender, the first meet, we lost to Deering and Bonnie Eagle. And let's see, they beat us by quite a bit. Let's see, Portland and Bonnie Eagle. Portland beat us by 65 points in that first meet, the SMAA relays with 10 teams. We kept improving as the season went on. FOC, which is about halfway through the season, Festival of Champions in Belfast. Portland still beat us, but we were the second main team out of 75 teams. We were 4th overall. Portland still beat us by 91 points in that meet, though. So a lot of ground to make up. The kids just kept working hard all season long. And like I said, if anything, working almost too hard, just had to keep watching them to make sure they didn't overdo it. Just a great group of student athletes. And then in the regional meet, we did come in third place. Portland beat us by 52 points there. 2 weeks later in the state meet, if you could give that to Mr. Legage there. We came in 2nd place, and this is how much these kids improved. We were 2nd to Portland by only 10 points, and they had beaten us all season long by up to 50 points. So just an incredible group of athletes. We did have 3 seniors, only 3 seniors. We're only losing 3, but they were all SMAA all academic status. One of our runners earned first team SMAA honors, and another runner earned second team SMAA honors. Great season. Thank you.
Hey, Coach Mariello with field hockey.
Hi, thanks again for the invite, and congratulations to all the athletes here for an incredible fall season. I commend you for all your efforts. I know as a coach what the grind is, and I can imagine as student athletes how hard you work day in and day out. So I commend you. For Scarborough Field Hockey, we had another incredible season. We had quite an obstacle ahead of us where we graduated 19 players in the past 2 years, only returning 5 starters, 13 brand new varsity players, and we finished 4th place in a very competitive league, falling eventually to the eventual state title, the state champs, which those girls had thousands and thousands of extra hours of experience compared to us, but we were there. That's incredible. These girls behind us here are our captains. We have Caroline Hartley, who was our midfielder, force to reckon with. She's the type of player that absolutely gets it from all pieces, highly competitive. She made the SMAA all academic team, as well as the SMAA all first team as a player. She is also a stud basketball player, as you'll hear about in the winter. We then have Jamila Muhammad. She was our goalie this season, graduated all of our defenders, so she was the only one coming back, and she had to be at the forefront, and she took that on like a beast, and she played like a beast, and you would never know it. Look at that sweet face. But she made some incredible saves, almost jaw-dropping, and Jamila also made the SMAA all academic team as well as the SMAA second team, but also got the honor of making a Maine all state team. So she had quite an honor there where we'll recognize a couple of them up in Augusta. She's also a member of the Civil Rights, RSVP, Sources of Strength, and the National Honor Society. Emma Lally, she was a forward for us. When I think of Emma, it's the word consistency, where she shows up every day, practice, games, doesn't matter, does those little things that really matter, and makes some great things happen. So this year she's won the Coaches Award and was also a part of the SMAA All Academic Team and also a part of the lacrosse team. Maggie Pendergast, our last player, our MVP, as she was titled for our banquet in the season. It just ultimately showed it was no brainer. She was a midfielder for us, played with pure passion, pure gut, and has no off switch. So those are the type of players that everyone else kind of elevates their game, and that's what you want. Maggie also made the SMAA All Academic Team, first team All Conference, as well as All State team. She is also a member of the Model UN team. So what I'm most proud of is you can hear a repeated pattern of not only that these girls kill it on the field, but they also kill it and rock it in the classroom and everywhere else in our community. So it's a proud thing to be a part of. So aside from all of those, these girls are tremendous role models. I mentioned that they're the type of girls that you'd want your sons to marry. I have 2 sons, so it was. So they're beautiful, dynamic. Each bring all of them, not just these girls, the entire team brings something unique that is very complementary to one another. We've had an incredible ride, and I stand here one last time as this is my last year coaching, and I just want to send my thank yous for all of the support over the 22 years that I've been doing this. These girls have given me more than they know, and it's truly been a labor of love for me. So thank you.
You beat me to it, but I just want to congratulate Coach Mariello on a great career in Scarborough, 22 years coaching, and she's going to take some time and watch her daughter play. And so congratulate Coach Mariello and thank her for all her support over the years and contribution to the athletic department, to our student athletes and all the students in schools. So congratulations. Coach Reed with cheering.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katie Reed, and I am the assistant coach for the varsity cheer team at Scarborough High School. I'd like to introduce who I have with me tonight is Anita Carr and Ava Wakeham, who are our captains from this past fall. This season, we just about doubled our numbers for the cheer program. Last year, we had 7 athletes, and this year, 13. We are excited to be progressively growing our program by each season. This year, we continued our tradition of homecoming craft night, where we include football families in preparing field decorations and a poster for every football player from freshman to varsity. Follows our non-competitive season, where we focus on school spirit, sportsmanship, and supporting our fellow student athletes. We also added on another school event, participating in the school pep rally with the football team, which I think the girls had a very fun time with. We had a great team this year. They not only did a great job cheering on the football team, but they were just a super close-knit group of girls who you could tell just loved being around each other. They were singing on the buses to each game and just really having a good time, loving the sport. We're looking forward to continuing growing our program, and we thank everyone who supports all of the athletic programs here at Scarborough.
And Coach Melia with football.
First off, I'd just like to say thank you to the school board, the administration, the athletic department, the athletic training department, the cheerleading team. our parents and boosters for all the things they do for us. This season, well, let me first introduce these guys. These are our team captains, Cole Tomashat, Sam Giddy, and Nate Glidden. These guys did a great job this year. We had a pretty rough season this year. We were only able to win one game, but I don't think the scoreboard doesn't really tell the story of the season or really the full measure of success of a program. We believe that the true measure of success is the caliber of adults that our student athletes become, and only time will tell on that. And we pride ourselves on things like we had 9 players this year that were on the SMA All Academic team. Unfortunately, we haven't voted for our league awards yet, so I don't know if anybody will be on that, but I expect we'll have some guys on that. These guys did a great job of leaders this year. Like I said, it's tough to keep things together when you have a rough season like that. But they kept everything loose with the team, kept everybody in a positive frame of mind, and they really embody the things we talk about with the football team and we have over the years. I like to say the ability to learn is a gift, even when pain is our teacher. And these guys really learned a lot this season. You know, through football, we hope to cultivate a mentality that carries student athletes through their lives. And I think these guys really demonstrated that from the lessons they learned and the lessons they encountered this year. Most notably, I found out this morning that we are the recipient of the Class A South Sportsmanship Award that we'll be accepting this Saturday at the state championship game. So that's also something we're very proud of. And again, I just want to thank everybody for letting us represent the community in the best way possible and letting me coach every year. So thank you very much.
And Coach Petherbridge with volleyball.
Hi, my name's Nicole Petherbridge. This is my first year coaching the volleyball team here in Scarborough. I'm joined by 2 of our captains, Alana Sawyer and Julia Strauss. We had a great year this year. We had a 11-3 record in the regular season. That got us a 3rd place seed going into the postseason. After our bye in the first round, we came away with a win in the quarterfinals against Bonnie Eagle, and then had a 5-set thriller to upset the 2 seed Biddeford in their home gym in the semifinals. If you've been to a volleyball game, you know the first 4 sets are played to 25, win by 2, and then if there's a deciding 5th set, it's to 15, but still win by 2, and that 5th set was 17-15, good guys. So you can imagine how intense that was, and we're very proud of that. And I don't think falling short is the right phrase to use, because we did still finish 2nd in the state to Gorham in an exciting 3-1 championship game. So very proud of our successes on the court this season. We were led by 9 seniors, Alana and Julia. Alana is one of our middle hitters. Julia is a right side hitter and a setter for us. They were among 5 of our Scarborough players who received all conference recognition, 1st team, 2nd team, and honorable mention. And 8 of our 9 seniors had SMA all academic team honors. Off the court, the team raised money and prepared dinner for the guests at the Ronald McDonald House in Portland. They worked towards a common goal. They were willing to play out of position if it was for the betterment of the team. They practiced good sportsmanship and respect and showed resilience and perseverance in the face of setbacks. And I feel really lucky to have this be my inaugural year in Scarborough, to have been with this group and to have been so supported by the athletic department, our trainers, and just the community at large. So thank you all so much.
Coach Diaz with boys soccer.
Hello, thanks for having us up here. I have my captains. I have Logan Plord. I have Dylan McLeod and Zach Sanders. So 3 of the 4 captains that we had this year, great examples for our team. As far as our season, some of the highlights, we got to do Becky's Walk again this year, which is a walk for breast cancer awareness that we've been doing for a long time, I think almost 15 or 16 years. I wish you could have seen my group, the way they showed up and participated in the events, and it was really special. Just really impressed by that, really proud of them for that. And it was on a Sunday morning, which is not the easiest way to get these kids going, but they showed and it was great. I had 4 of my players make the SMA All Conference, and I had 12 of my players make the all academic team. In our program, we have close to 70 players. So there was a lot of work to do. And with leadership like this, it really helped out with managing the numbers and showing the young guys how we want to do things. As far as our season, you know, we started out, which we knew would be difficult, struggle in the beginning. I think at one time we were 2-2-1, and we haven't been 2-2 around here for a long time. So people were talking. I'm sure they were saying great things about me, and you know, they were talking about us and how you know we weren't doing well. And then we went 9-2 in our last 11 games, and we ended up losing the playoffs to Portland in a double overtime thriller of a game against a team that was in some ways a little bit better than us, and my guys gave everything they had. I mean, the bench was involved. Everything you want as a coach in that game was taking place. Everyone was into it, whether they were playing or not. The coaches. I know we lost, but it was really it was a good thing to be a part of. So it was tough to say goodbye to these seniors. So that was the way we ended our year, but I couldn't be more proud of everything that happened. And like all the coaches in this room, we're so lucky to work with these kids. I mean, they're pretty easy to work with because they've been raised the right way, and we're just very fortunate. So coming to work every day is really not work for us. It's really not. So thanks for having us. I appreciate it.
And Coach Bennett with girls soccer.
Hi, hello, I'm Doug Bennett. I'm actually the JV coach. Coach Farley couldn't be here. He likes to head to Florida as soon as the season's over. I tried to convince him to stay for 2 more days, but he just laughed at me. These are our captains: Lana Duranovich, Talia Borelli. Most nervous thing about being here, I was worried about getting their names right. So after all these years, all right, good. I didn't write them down. So, all right. So we had another pretty successful year this year. We were 17-1, won the SMAA championship, won the regional championship, and this Saturday we had a pretty decent day. We won the state championship again, making it back-to-back state championships. In the last 2 years, we've been 35-1. We outscored our opponents 155-8 over the last 2 years. It's pretty good, I guess. Pretty even the numbers like I am. Lana here, this year became our all-time leading scorer in program history. Last year she became our first ever All-American, and should be again this year. If not, there'll be a federal investigation led by me. But so we'll see how that goes. But honestly, the kid, like all the coaches, they are so much more than just really great athletes. They are just amazing human beings. They're often late to practice, and which kind of drives me nuts as a coach, but because they're getting extra help in class and they're at clubs or they're volunteering to make the world a better place. And I don't know how you get mad at that, that's for sure. The list of the extracurricular activities that these kids do are just amazing. Coach Diaz mentioned the walk we did. We did together, the boys and girls team. Been doing that for
a very long time to remember a soccer mom who lost her battle to breast cancer a while back. And this year we raised $4,000 as a program, and we probably raised close to $100,000 over the last 15 whatever years that we've done this as a soccer program. And the colleges that not only will our captains, but all of our seniors go to will amaze all of you, because these kids do such amazing things. 8 of our 10 seniors made the SMAA all academic team. It was the second most in the league. Sanibel Shinners made the all citizenship teams because of her team first, selfless attitude. I can go on here for hours, but apparently I have a 3-minute time limit, which I usually laugh at, but I probably should try to keep to it. And these are amazing human beings that happen to play soccer. And if you fast forward 20, 30, 40 years from now, you will see that they are far better people than they are soccer players, who I'll remind you have won 35 out of the last 36 soccer games, 2 state titles at the highest level in the state of Maine offers us. So thank you. I would do this for free. I won't, but I would. But it is absolutely a gift to come and coach these amazing human beings every single. You cut me off every single day. So thank you very much. So.
Okay, we're very lucky that Senator Brenner is here today and to present a sediment. So we're really appreciative that she was able to take the time and come and recognize our girls soccer program.
Thank you, Director. And I'm not sure lucky is the right term, but I'm here nonetheless. And Chair Lindstrom and Superintendent and esteemed members, it's great to see you all. Thanks for having me. So excited to celebrate you guys. And I don't know what the appropriate moment is where you cross the threshold from girls soccer to women's soccer, but you guys strike me as ready, and you make a town proud. So thank you. I'll read you the sentiment from the state of Maine. Be it known to all that we, the members of the Senate and House of Representatives, join in recognizing the Scarborough High School girls varsity soccer team, Go Red Storm, which won the 2023 Class A state championship. We extend our congratulations and best wishes, and be it ordered that this official expression of sentiment be sent forthwith and on behalf of the 131st Legislature and the people of the state of Maine. Thank you. That's for you guys.
Picture, all right. There. All right. When you get in the middle here.
All right.
Why you open that thing up this morning? So look at that up there. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Stacy, would you mind sending us that photo? Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
And I think that's it for this evening. And just want to thank you again for having us. And I think you heard a lot about successful programs, but also all the great work that our student athletes do to really reinforce education-based athletics. And so they're out there doing a lot of things, and we have lots to be proud of. Questions about anything, or?
Had any questions or comments for Mike or for the athletes?
I'd like to say, congratulations to all the athletes and coaches, especially Doug. And we will be looking into having him work for free going forward. We'll be meeting about that later. I'm sorry, you're not invited.
So as the chair of the finance committee, I will make sure he's well paid. All right. Yeah. And he gave my son a great, sounds really loud. We had a great parent teacher conference this afternoon, so double bit in my book.
I wonder
But
how much that costs.
But anyway, I just have to say the sports night is my favorite night. And it's just impressive. You guys are young, bright, brilliant human beings growing up and just coming into your own. And I can't be more proud of you guys and all that you've accomplished. It's not easy doing what you do. I know that, to keep your grades up, keep your sports going, do your practices every day, and all the workouts in between. And well, I already said that one, going to class. Keep your academics up. Just impressive. And I'm so proud of each and every one of you. And thank you for all you do, and good luck in the next college as it approaches.
I'd like to just echo what Carolyn said. This, one of my favorite nights. I love hearing about all the accomplishments on and off the field, and I'm so excited for you guys every time we get to hear about all the really wonderful stuff going on. So congratulations to you all. And thank you to the coaches and to Mike for all this coordination.
All right. I also fully congratulate everybody and appreciate the time you spend coming to us. I know it seems, it's late, it's night, you've got other things you'd rather be doing, but we love this more than you probably know, probably more than you do. And there are times that our job is so hard and so very difficult. And then we get to come and we get to hear from you and all of the wonderful things you are doing. And it makes everything worthwhile. So thank you for coming, and thank you, Mike, for organizing this for us every time. I had this interesting experience this week. I was walking by my TV and Good Morning America was on, and somebody that my husband and I used to work with, and he's in the military. He's a wounded warrior. He was the base commander at a Army base that we worked at Fort Belvoir in Virginia. He's also an actor. He lost his limbs in war. He was on Good Morning America. He's also a motivational speaker and was on Good Morning America because he's written a book about the power of resilience and friendship and how those two things can take you so far in life. And as I'm listening to the things that were said here tonight, we had a losing season, we won one game, or we made it really, really close and we almost won the whole thing, but we didn't fall short, but we didn't quite make it either, right? There's a lot of power to be had in those difficult times, and the friendships and the bonds you have as you move forward through those times. So I just hope that all of you hang on to those lessons as well, right? The winning is always wonderful. It feels so good, especially to do it twice in a row, right? That is phenomenal and a phenomenal feat. And there's just so much power to have in fortitude and resilience and developing friendships and being there for each other and having great coaches you can rely on. And those are the things too that will carry you through life. So I hope that you guys keep that in mind. Remember that. Thank you again. Congratulations to the seniors. I know the next step, the future looks bright and college is waiting. And I've seen some of your videos online. It's been really great to watch. So congratulations. Thank you again, and all the best to you. All right, so we are going to move on to public comment, but before we do so, if you would like to leave, you are more than welcome to do so. So I'll give it just a minute.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yeah, if you want to move to the front now, you're more than welcome to. Yeah, if you want to come up to the front. Right there, yeah. The light is not working, so we'll talk through that too. I checked it. So let me 5.0 agenda item 5.0 is public comment. To what Mr. Fay just said, the light is not working this evening, so I will keep a watch on the phone. If you're here to make public comment, we ask you to keep it to 3 minutes time. I will just give you a cue that when your 3 minutes is up. Okay, so because it's not working. All right, so the floor is open if you would like to line up or just take a turn. And then Diane, if you wouldn't mind watching online for me.
Hi, Jack Fay, 14 Mulberry Lane. First question I have is, some of the groups that formed, like Save Sawyer Road, felt that their neighborhood was being threatened by Big Brother. When you're threatened, sometimes you react poorly. That's the only thing I'll say about that. I asked John Anderson, and he said about 4,000 people subscribe to the town newsletter, the electronic one.
Mhm.
That should give you some forum that might give you a valid statistical sample to answer questions or to just put things out to try and get people more involved in this. Whether you like it or not, I'm going to be becoming more involved in this. 3 minutes, though, is either too long or too short, depending on who's talking. I found out that you all have emails. Guess what? I'll probably send you thoughts, suggestions, hopefully to help. Read them, throw them out, whatever you want to do, delete. It's so easy to do. We don't kill trees anymore. That's all I had to say. I want to see, I did say something at the meeting the other night, and I think Shannon left. The no vote is not directed to any one person on the town council or on this board. You did a lot of good work. As a salesman for over 40 years, I made an awful lot of proposals that I thought I did everything right. Customers said no. What do? You go back and you find out, what did I do wrong? And then you start to go and you make the next proposal and you move on. I think you people are actually doing a good job. And I think that the schools are very, very important. I did vote no, but it was not against having a school. It was for a multitude of other reasons. One of them being destroying my neighborhood. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fay.
Liam Summers, Holmes Road, and Julian. So you guys did a lot of work, and it was hard work, I'm sure, and it went on for years. And I can't imagine the disappointment you must have felt, and I understand why you would feel that way. But I want to touch on something that I heard tonight, and I've heard in various other forums about this. Voting no doesn't mean you're anti-school. I had my 9-year-old daughter here tonight, and I met with her teacher the other day. I mean, that her teacher's amazing, really passionate about what she does. I'm so excited that my daughter's in her class. My son, Jack, went through Scarborough School. Some of you may know him, horrifying the thought of that, but perhaps you may know him. And now he's at school at University of Maine Orono because he had great educational experience in Scarborough. We moved here for the fact that the Scarborough schools were rated as excellent schools. So I voted no, not because I didn't want to support the schools. And I think that, you know, I'm sure you're regretting the notion of hate group coming out of your mouth to talk about some of the voters, and the notion that voters were anti-school if they voted no. That's not the case. Some of us would love to support the school and would have. I will tell you personally, I found out about where the school was going and almost fell off my chair. So that got me back involved in this project. If it was neighborhood schools and we're going to refurbish them, it's going to cost money. Yeah, I don't want our kids in trailers. I just don't. So I would have supported other things, but I had my reasons for not wanting to see it in the Downs. And so that's where I came into the project. But people do want to support the schools. I think you guys I sat through your workshop and you are understanding some of the reasons why people voted no, but don't gloss over some of those sentiments. Don't think that just because you only heard from 50% of the town that there might have been a groundswell for the school in the Downs that wasn't heard from. I would suggest that's probably not the case. And you're not going to get 100% of voters to ever speak to you anyway. And also, don't expect that everybody who voted no has a responsibility to now come forward and find a solution. We have a representative government, and people can vote no for their own reasons without needing to be told they now have to come up with a solution. Everybody in this room has voted no on something at some point. And that's just how our government works. I want to be involved because it's important, and I voted no, and I feel like, okay, now I do have a responsibility to do something, but that doesn't mean everybody else does. And everybody has their own reasons, and we can't shame somebody who voted no and tell them they now owe something else. They don't. You either want to do it or you don't. So I think you guys do great work. I think the Board of Education, school board has a responsibility to be jealously protective of the schools and the students. And I never have an issue with that. I have an issue with how that translates to the town council, and that's different. But your responsibility is to the schools and to the students, and you should be jealous about that and do the work that supports that. And I'll help you support that in every reasonable way I can. So thank you for your work. Appreciate it. Thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you, Mr. Summers.
Hello, Seth Fernald, Maple Avenue. I wasn't planning on speaking until we had the workshop today. Going forward, we got to lick our wounds. We all know we got to do something. We got to go forward. If we had 100 people coming into every workshop, that would be a lot of people. I think we'd all agree. That would be less than 0.5% of the town. Again, that would be just an echo chamber, just hearing what those people say. That's not really representative. I do agree with the survey would be great. I also feel that in this day and age with technology, that yes, we might miss some people who might not have a computer. I don't know what the percentage would be on that. I think Tom Hall said he hopes to get about 500 of the surveys back. Was that about right?
600.
600. So that's, I think there's about 9,000 households in Scarborough. That is not a great percentage either. I haven't got to work my head in that one, but that's not a great percentage. Digitally, yes, we might miss on some people. We could try an outreach, transportation, anything to kind of get the people who don't have access to computers to vote. Scarborough's been having an issue for a while. I don't know if it's because we have a lot of old town, a lot of new town, a lot of farm, a lot of downs, the confluence has really been an issue for a while, whether it's the library, whether it's the downs, whether it's the schools, whether it's going back to dogs on the beach. We seem to really, we can make a small problem huge, or we can keep a major problem huge. So it seems, I don't know what it is about our town where we have this issue. I think, and just talking about the survey and talking about paying $20,000, which is, I think, about, well, on their success, to be about $40 per survey. I would love to see this town do, it sounds, I'm just kind of going off the rails here, but the survey issue, I think we need to do something in-house. I really think this topic, yes, it's huge, but we kind of have it narrowed down to what a lot of the issues are. If we can find out if it's the location, if it was the Sawyer Road, if it was the money, if it's keeping we kind of know it's the 4 or 5 items. If we can't figure that out in-house with this, I really hope we could figure that out in-house with the survey without spending $20,000, without waiting 2 months. It's a straw poll. If we put it out there, it comes back and we look at these numbers and we're like, what? It looks just like a splatter diagram. Then yeah, we're in trouble. That survey would be in trouble. If we put, in-house, if we spend more than a couple $100 or a couple $1,000, I'd be surprised. Google Docs, the technology is there. The questions on this issue, I don't believe it's like trying to drill down and, a lot of surveys are trying to secretly find out what people are at, what they're into without actually asking them. And this one, we know kind of what the issues are. If we know what the non-starters are, that would be great. And we could find that out within a couple of weeks. I really believe so. If it's the location, if, 50% of the town or 30% of the town says that's just a non-starter, then we know. Okay, yeah. But there are all these topics. If we just know what we can't put into the new program, everyone puts so much time into that. I thank you so much. And then it gets going, it snowballs, and we kind of get there, and then people start, finding out more, and then they, people are voting for, against it. I just would love the effort to be, a little more directed, hopefully going forward, because everyone in this town, I think, close to 100% knows something needs to be done. But then some people want to renovate the schools, some people want new schools. It's just, again, I think this is probably a town council item, but I think in this day and age, this could be done in-house. I don't think $20,000 for a consultant to draft up questions, to print paper like it's 1982, to send out surveys, it seems a little antiquated. I think we're progressive, we should be, and this keeps coming up in Scarborough. Let's get the information out so we can work intelligently. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Furno.
And thank you. I really do mean thank you all. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was not an empty thank.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Marvin Gates, 423 Black Point Road. Haven't been to a school board meeting, certainly haven't made a comment. I have done some homework by reading all of the minutes of the last 2 years building committee meetings. I was sort of looking for information, and believe it or not, it becomes sort of captivating watching how things develop. I have an agenda. I have something I'd like to suggest to you for your consideration regarding the building committee members and how you might determine who might stay, who might go. I just can't imagine you're going to have I think there's something like 19 members currently. Some of them I'm sure are you. And if you just add a lot, it becomes somewhat unwieldy. So I think you have a very difficult task ahead, and I think that's where the rubber meets the road, is in the building committee going forward. I'm not here thinking I'm going to join or want to join, or don't have the qualifications, frankly. And that's why I'm here. I will get there before my 3 minutes. It's a very brief suggestion, and I just wanted to share with you. I voted no. I'm a single issue voter. It's not 5 things that I voted no about. It was one thing, and that was the cost. And not just the cost because how it would affect me, but how it would affect, at least in my understanding, Scarborough. And not to get into the weeds too much, because I live there in the weeds. It's the way that when you borrow that amount of money, you sort of hitch your wagon to a demand for growth to disperse the tax impact. And I'm one of those guys in the survey who wants Scarborough to remain size-wise sort of in the relationship of where it is. So that's my issue. That's my only issue. And the school, frankly, got caught in the middle. And that's just I think it got caught in the middle on both sides. There may be a pro-development group, and I'm not naive. I know there's a pro-development group in town. I'm not saying I'm an anti-group. I just want to think about it and have it be what people in Scarborough want it to be, period. Okay, I wanted to get that off my chest. I looked out, and I'll be quick. I looked at the last, I think there are 22 or 23 meetings ever since, the project number 20308 was attached to it, as best as I could tell. And you guys had a lot of absences. It sounds like I'm being critical. I'm trying to be constructive here, of members who were absent. I'm not pointing names or anything like that. I suggest you might go back if you're trying to winnow things out. I know you are very smart and very knowledgeable and way ahead of me in this department. Just would encourage you to tailor this new committee as best you can in whatever way you can to get this very important job done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gates. I'm going to flip online first because I see we have somebody there, or flip to online. All right, Ms. King, if you want to unmute yourself, you should be able to speak now.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. My name is Caitlin King. I live on Timber Sands Drive. I always listen to these meetings. Last time I spoke at a meeting, I think was March of 2019. So I'm a lurker, but wanted to speak up tonight because I think this is incredibly important for us moving forward. I think some things were said tonight that might have been said out of hurt feelings and are not going to go over well. So I think it's important to say this. There's been a lot of conversations tonight about Facebook and groups, and I'm not necessarily disagreeing with what's been said. I think it's clear for me to say I'm not affiliated with any of these groups. I know what you all are referring to. I have definitely seen posts by those groups that I do not agree with. So I want to be very clear on that point. However, as someone who is pretty middle of the road on this issue, the biggest and most active Facebook group in Scarborough, of which plenty of people on this meeting tonight are members of, was and remains, I'll say violently pro the proposed school. And anytime anyone said anything, whether it was against the school or in my experience, I was looking for clarification when I was doing my own research. It was nothing short of attack was the response. And there were responses by members of the board and the council. So I think it's not a good start to this process by kind of making an us versus them. So many comments tonight about being kind, being directed at one side. This was very much a two-sided issue. And it really, and I can tell you from personal experience, as well as talking to other members of the community, it was very challenging to feel that we could reach out and go to meetings and speak to people when what we are seeing online from the yes camp was as unkind. Again, I'm a middle of the road person here. I did end up voting no for a host of reasons, but definitely want to be a part of the process moving forward. And I think to do that, there needs to be some reckoning by both sides, or it's not going to happen. And we're all just going to stay here forever, which is what I don't want to see that happen. So I just think that needs to be taken into account. And thanks for listening.
Thank you, Ms. King. Is there anybody else wishing to make public comment this evening? Thank you. I will close public comment then. Agenda item 7.0 is the K2 leadership stipend update. So for this, I'll turn it over to Jeff.
Yes, and we have a visitor on Zoom here. And Lovejoy is going to talk us through a little bit about, provide some information and just background and a reminder about our K-2 leadership stipend, which is later on in our new business.
Hi, thanks for having me. So the K2 leadership stipend that you're seeing before you are some additional positions from what we traditionally have had. We've traditionally had one building leader per building. So the principal and a lead teacher have been the only two people in the building with sort of administrative designee roles and with any sort of leadership responsibilities. And as we move forward and look towards consolidation of buildings or renovation or restructuring of any kind, we need to start building more leadership and building more capacity within our schools to help manage all the different moving parts of a school. So we have been proposing for several years now to have some additional roles, and this year we were lucky enough to get them through the budget process, and they are smaller stipended positions than the traditional lead teacher. They're grade level leads or Java-like leads, so maybe a special ed teacher for all the special ed staff as a lead teacher position, or a specialist role, so art, music, PE, getting a stipend for that. The meeting and expectation time is less than it is for the full-time lead teacher, not full-time, but the full lead teacher. And so it's a smaller stipend, but we're hoping to be able to have a better communication system between the three schools and help continue to move forward collectively and collaboratively as three schools. And the best way to do that is to have people who can be in those roles and be paid to do a little bit of extra work outside of the school day and lead their teams in a quality way.
Yeah, so I'd, offer if, any board member has any questions for Anne. Again, as she mentioned, this was part of the budget process for this year. And so, there were job descriptions as Anne was describing around this. And it's just, there's a lot of, I think, I know a lot of informal teacher leadership that goes on in our K-2 buildings. And so as Anne was mentioning, this is a way to recognize that there's additional work and that happens outside of the contracted school day and contributing to the leadership that we need at our K-2 phase.
All right, thank you, Jeff and Ann. Are there any questions? For either right now? Yeah.
Just a quick comment. I think when we talk about teachers overall and people leaving the field, one of the critiques we hear constantly is all the expectations to stay after and to do extra work that's unpaid and unrecognized. And I think it's really important that we step forward and we recognize the work that students are doing. I'm trying to conserve my voice for later.
Thank you, Freyla, for that. All right, if there's no other questions, we will go on to agenda item 8.0, which is DEI committee governance document. Freyla, are you gonna be okay?
I apologize in advance. I'm going to power through this. I am losing my voice. So when we talk about the DEI committee, I think you've heard various forums and meetings and workshops that the committee often struggles with sort of basic how to govern itself. It was set forward with a charge that's available on the website. You're welcome to look at it. And sort of the first year was highly structured. It was facilitated by a group. Committee members showed up and followed directions, hopefully. And then we had a period of a break, and then it started meeting again regularly. And we switched the chair leadership from board members to committee members. I was on that committee from the start as a community member. And then once I joined the board, I continued as a board member. The committee struggles with, and has struggled historically with sort of setting up how to run a committee. Our chairs are not professional chairs. They don't come, some of them have chaired things before, many of them have not. And it's just been a struggle to think about how do you make a decision? So how does a committee even make a decision to make a recommendation to this board if it doesn't have a protocol to follow? So in consultation with the subcommittee on the DEI committee for governance, of which I'm a member, shocking, I know. We started running around with ideas, and then I think through conversations with Jillian, who's the other board member, and Shannon, who's understood the frustration of various ministers or how to get things done, we came up with the idea of sort of creating a governance document. This document was shared with the committee members, and they were allowed to give, or they were encouraged to give feedback. And we've gotten some feedback from two of the chairs, both of which are favorable. They like it overall. It kind of fits the, I drafted a lot of it, and it really fits what we've been trying to do. So we make decisions not by a traditional vote, but we do it by consensus model. We have an expert on the committee who does that, and there's a voting aspect to that, but that's how decisions are made. There's a purpose and the charge. That's the charge is what this committee is going to look at next workshop. So I'm going to skip through that. The purpose statement is just sort of an overarching sort of what's the goal. And that's to ensure Scarborough is fulfilling its obligation to meet each student individually, ensure that they meet their full potential through access to high quality public education by identifying and reducing systemic and individual barriers which inhibit a student's growth. So DEI means a lot of things to a lot of different people, and that's including on the committee. Our DEI committee is comprised of people who have an interest in sort of all sorts of aspects. It's not race-based, it's not gender-based, it's not religious-based, it's not any sort of minority. It's really overall. There's people who think about ADA things and disability, neurodiversity, and really a bunch of folks who come together really thoughtfully about those issues. And so that the mission is really sort of to really make sure that the overall Scarborough schools are functioning well for every student as a group, and also as an individual, whatever that student needs. Like, they don't have to have an ISM to be part of that, and to make sure that they feel welcome and are able to access the educational that they deserve. The composition is set by this board that hasn't changed. It's 21 members, 7 residents at large, 6 members of the school, for students to school administrators and to school board members. And we are invited to bring on community members for subcommittees. We haven't had a lot of success with that yet, but I'm hopeful that we can do that. It has to do with vacancies and removals. So we recommend vacancies are recommended by the DEI committee and appointed by the Scarborough School Board. And the school board may remove any committee made by vote of a majority of its members for misconduct or non-performance. Attendance, that's something that we haven't traditionally done. We've been reseating people. So I think if this is adopted today, going forward, when we as a committee nominate a new member, we will bring that for a vote before this board if this governance document is adopted the way that it is written. It has an attendance requirement. That's to make sure that the members are continue to be there. If they become inactive, that's okay. They're invited to reapply. But we don't really want empty chairs at the table because it just interferes with the work. There's officers. It's an annual election for the chairs. There's 3 chairs, 1 for each community. So there's a school employee chair, there's a community chair, and there's a student chair. And the student chair is really mentored by the other 2 chairs to sort of teach them how to chair meetings. So there's an educational component to that. Other than that, it talks about quorum and voting. In order to have a quorum, we require 12 members to be present. That's more than half of the 21 members. And we require representation from each group, community member, staff of the school district, and a student member, so that there's representation from each group that's affected. And that's pretty much it. We have meetings records. The meetings are scheduled right now. We're meeting monthly on the second Tuesday of the month from 6 until 7:30. We usually meet in the high school AP room, and the meetings are streamed live. And at public participation, we have various chairs have done this differently. We've had no community feedback. We've had community members attend both in person and online. And we've invited comment when we see them, but typically nobody comments. So that's something that the chairs know and they try to include in the agenda. That's it. It's a fairly short document, 3 pages. I'm happy to discuss any questions.
I think this document is great. It's very thorough, actually. I don't have any questions about it. I want to say I really like it.
I think as we talk about this and consider this for tonight, one thing that we want to essentially take out and set aside is the charge, because if you remember, that was supposed to be the purpose of our workshop tonight, but in light of the referendum, we did switch. So the charge is something as a board we would actually look at in our December workshop. So for purposes of this evening, really looking at the overall document with setting that piece aside is what we're.
Well, that was where all my questions were.
Oh.
You knew it.
Oh, that's funny.
For most of them. I did have a couple general questions and then maybe one more specific question. So if this is related to the charge, just tell me and we'll discuss it in December. That's perfectly fine. How does the committee's work intersect, or does it intersect with, whether it's the Civil Rights Club or the district equity or district, I keep forgetting the name, equity teams, and how do they all, are they interrelated in any way, or are they separate?
Not officially. They're not interrelated in any way. They're totally separate. There are members of both groups that are also on the committee. So there are some crossover in terms of membership, but we don't officially interact. We've never, the Civil Rights Club, sometimes we get updated from students about things that have happened in the schools. Like we do here, actually, we've had I've seen the same presentation a couple of times with things that happen in the schools, but there's no official overlap. There's no coordination or cooperation. I think most of the students are on the Civil Rights Club, but I would have to go back and check their applications.
Yeah. And then I was in the public participation. So the last was at 0.9, if I get my Roman numerals right. It said public participation at committee meetings is not required, but may be permitted at the discretion of the chairs. So it sounded like a little squishy as it may not be permitted.
Yeah, so in the agenda, there's often a place where there's public comment, and if there's a member of the public what I've seen most often is that they're invited to make a comment, and we try to follow the same rules the board does, so it's 3 minutes, it's addressed to the
Yeah.
chairs. We just try to follow the same protocol, but there are times when we don't have time for that, so the chairs have the discretion to say we're not doing public comment at this meeting. Again, we've never had public comment, so it's one of those things where it's like set up for in case there
Yeah.
needs to be, and even times when we've expected it, because we've had people show up and watch the meetings,
Yeah.
and we expect we're showing up to say something and they're not.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I guess my one request would be to make it so people, just to make sure it's clear, because we value input and all that, but just to make sure that it is permitted. And if it's only during a couple minutes at the beginning for public comment, I think that's valuable. I don't want to see that limited in any way. So here, sorry, I'm using my new toy, and so it's a little sensitive. It's remarkable. Oh, you will love it. Okay.
For the public, just because I feel like we all would want to know now, it is a remarkable. electronic-
And it is indeed remarkable.
Yeah.
So it's little kids. So I think that's all I have for tonight. I think the rest is charge related, so, no, we're good. Thank you.
And I think the charge is gonna be a longer discussion. I have lots
Yeah.
of questions too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think well, first, is there any other comment or questions for Freyla about this? I agree with the public participation. I was trying to go back really quickly and look. It's part of our policy, BEDH, of course. But I agree with you, Carolyn. I think that it's important that all of our committees, right, not just this one even, but really all of our committees allow an opportunity for public participation. So really, I wonder, as we look forward with our agenda setting from all of our committee times, perhaps we make sure that all of our agendas have that, right? Yeah, have opportunity, because I think that's a valuable point, right? Where we just got done talking about building trust and building community, and that's one of the ways we do it. So, yeah.
And I feel perfectly comfortable making it not discretionary and saying that there will be moments of the agenda that's reserved for public comment. Like, I don't think that's problematic at all. I don't know how to do that right now, though, procedurally. Like, do you?
Well, what we'll do is we can, this is really our first opportunity to discuss this document. And then again, we're going to get really into the meat of this, which is the charge at our workshop. But my intent was after we're done with that, with the workshop, I was going to have an agenda item to vote on this. So I think we're still in a place where we can make change. Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, no.
I noticed two more questions, actually. Just to make sure I'm clear. So the committee reports to the school board? Okay.
Yes.
And then, sorry to bring this on up, but has there been any discussion about recording of meetings? Has that been a topic that's come up about how to do it? Or if we want to?
No, they don't want to record their
They
meetings.
don't, have they discussed in any way about? how to
Not
make
since
that
the last
work?
time we asked them to discuss it.
Okay,
I can bring it up at the next meeting. We just had a meeting this week, so it'll be December. And take the temperature of the room again. I'm happy to do that.
okay, thanks.
I have just one thought, and I think attendance is going to fix this, but the quorum this quorum's a little bit different from the quorum that we've established as a board. And I know there has been a lot of frustration in the past with this committee not meeting quorum. And so part of me wonders and has wondered if we don't just instill the same quorum rule that the board has. But I also understand that this is something they asked for specifically. So it's not a hill I think I need to stand on forever, but I just wanted to, I guess, note that that's something that's different from how we would typically operate.
Yeah, we discussed that number a lot at length for a very long time. I share your concern because it's important that the committee can actually do work, and you need a quorum to do that work. This is the number that they're really comfortable with. So I think it's up to the board. I don't have strong feelings either way. I will say that we have been able to meet quorum since we made, since we seated the new members when we lost the members. Once we seated the full committee, we've been able to make quorum every time that we needed it. And I think pretty much every meeting, we've had our attendance in our meetings has been good.
So I guess what we could say is that like all committees of the board could have the same requirement for quorum, and we can just make that like a, you know, part of our operating. Yeah, there we go. If that's what, I mean, I don't know how you want to do it. I don't know if we want to kind of make it the same across the board, or I think there's value in that. In what you're
Yeah,
saying.
and I value consistency, right, across committees, because then I think it becomes easier for us to say, this is the way, you know, that this is the same way we do it one committee to the next. And so has been my struggle with this document, but I'm not,
Can I explain why they want it to be 12? They're not trying to make their job harder on purpose. They don't vote like we vote. So a majority vote isn't everyone calls the vote and we raise our hands or we voice vote. They do a consensus vote, which is a Quaker model where everyone discusses and they try to reach consensus. And eventually you're asked 4 to say you strongly support, 3, which is you support with reservation, 2, which means you're barely there, but you'll support it because most of the committee supports it. And 1 is you can't get on board. And you have to get the whole committee to 2, 3, or 4 in order for us to advance something. So the idea that we have a bare majority takes away from the idea that it's a consensus of the committee as a whole. You could make them switch to majority voting. They'll be very angry, but they'll do it. It's the model they've followed the entire time. It's the model they adopted when this board didn't give them any model to follow. So I really, we can definitely impose, or we have the right to impose that on them. I would just say that 12 supports the model of the consensus decision-making process that what they undertake. I've never done it before in my life. I find it a very interesting process to vote that way and to build decisions making that way. And I've learned a lot through the process, but it's not a majority vote the way that we vote. It's just, that's the process. I was unfamiliar with this process before joining this committee. I've never used this model before.
yeah, and that's likely where my heartburn over this is coming, because I'm also unfamiliar with that, and I've a self-proclaimed lover of Robert's rules. So here I am, struggling that there's like another model out there. And it seems like when we're thinking of this, it seems like the nitpickiest of things to pick apart, right? Like it's a process for me. And I just struggle because I value consistency. I value having the same routine with our committees, and that's a struggle for me. Maybe it's something we table and we all think about and we talk about at our workshop, perhaps, because if it's just me, I can accept that as well.
I think,
we can, are you at a 2 or a 4?
Yeah. I think that this would be a good conversation to have at our workshop. But, I do think that we're talking about how we're going to reorganize other committees, then it might be a really good conversation, again, have a more holistic plan for all of our committees so that going forward, there's always the same expectation.
Right.
So I think, and I also value what they're doing for that. So I definitely can hear it, but I do think that we need to, because it's confusing for us as a board. These are our committees, and we need to always, I think the consistency is extremely valuable. So I would like to discuss this, if we could include that in our workshop.
Right. Are there any other questions or comments for Freyla?
Just real quick, so is the committee supposed to meet before we would have that workshop? I don't know when the next meetings
Let me
are.
tell you the date.
Yeah.
Cause I'm just curious if that's also a conversation similar to what Jillian was just saying, like, here's what the board might be thinking in terms of trying to keep things consistent across the board, maybe just trying to get some feedback kind of along with the recording is, hey, we're not looking to pull the rug out from underneath you because we respect what you're doing and everything that's been accomplished over the years to this point to get it to this point. So we don't want, I wouldn't want them to feel alienated, and I'm not looking to extend the conversations like for now, because I think it is something that is a bigger discussion, but I think, you know, if we could get some feedback from them as to, you know, would you be open to understanding our perspective and why maybe we would go with the Roberts rules for everybody or something?
Yeah, I can email the committee. I emailed the committee the whole governance document.
So our workshop would be December 21st, Thursday, December 21st.
We're meeting before that. We're meeting the second Tuesday, which I think is 12, but I don't.
Yeah, I think the work that they're doing that we can continue.
There's nothing we're voting on right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, nothing major.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. It's my question's going to be something else.
Oh,
Go
are you
ahead.
on a yeah.
No,
and
same
I'm
thing, but
sorry,
different.
same thing, but different. Okay, I'm just gonna take a step back because if I go home tonight and I don't say what I'm thinking, I'm just gonna kick myself. So, so back to the recording just for a second. I just want to once again reiterate how important I think it is for the transparency and the consistency that we all value, and letting people to be able to view and participate. When I look at the charge, which I know might change, like nothing on here seems like it's something that can't be discussed in openness. And the things that you mentioned, I think are very valuable, that you know, what the work they're trying to do. And I think it's important. And I think it's important for the community to know what you're doing, what that sounded really wrong. I think it's important for people to know what you're discussing and the benefits that you're trying to bring to the school system. And so I just don't want to go home without being on my soapbox for one more minute. That's it.
I just want to distinguish for the public that, while it's not recorded, it is streamed live. So it's not done in secret, and people are invited to show up in person and online. So it is accessible and people take advantage of that, but it's not done in secret. People are able to access it.
Okay, so as I'm looking at the calendar, the 21st would be our date, for the next workshop, but that is the last day of school before winter break, and is creeping up on the holidays. So I'm curious if the board is interested in entertaining moving that workshop to the 7th.
I am.
Would that be better?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we'll just ask Cheryl to double check the room availability for the 7th. Okay. Sure. Yeah, all right. Perfect. All right, agenda item 9.0 is the Maine Department of Education missed school waiver. So for this, I'll turn it over to Jeff.
Right, so I shared with the board the letter about applying and requesting a waiver for Thursday and Friday, October 26th and 27th, in the immediate aftermath of the Lewiston tragedy. So I'm pretty confident that every school district in Cumberland County is preparing and sending a similar letter. It's something that the Department of Education can't unilaterally do, or the governor can't unilaterally do. So given that, sending this letter and having the board tonight take a motion and vote to approve applying for the waiver, there's a process that I then need to follow, attaching this letter as well as the minutes from the vote to Augusta. And that's the process. And has everybody seen the letter or been able to read it? Okay.
All right, so this is actually it's agenda item, and it's also a new business item. So for now, are there any questions for Jeff about the letter?
so how come the state doesn't just, or the Department of Education doesn't just, I mean, assumably, most districts are going to want this, right? I mean, how come, I don't know, why is that the process?
Well, the process, and it is the board that needs to approve the calendar. So this is a change in the number of instructional days. There needs to be a minimum of 175. That's by law. So in order to waive that obviously ultimately it needs to be done at the state level, but in order to change any modification to the calendar is something that the board needs to do.
Thank you. I feel like.
Don't feel like, because that was our first question. Like, really? Do we have to do this? So. And the answer was yes. Yes, you do. Yeah.
Thank you for your question, Jillian. Are there any other questions for Jillian? Not for Jillian, for Jeff?
I don't question. I just want to tell him I read the letter last night. I'm like, damn, this is good. It was fantastic. I'm like, this hit everything. I'm like, it was just, I thought it was really good. I just want to let you know.
Oh, thank you.
Is there any time sensitivity with the letter? Like, do you have to request a waiver now, or could you request a waiver in 3 months?
I don't think there's any specific time sensitivity. I think it helps to do it quickly.
Yeah, and the reason I asked for that is because we have the 3 snow days built in before we go into hybrid days. And does it make any sense instead of depriving students of 2 days of educational opportunities to see if we go into the snow days to capture the educational time back for students? Not to be a bad, not to like make students stay longer, but making sure that they get access to the education that they deserve and they're not losing out on opportunities to access, the students access a lot of critical resources at school and want to make sure they get that every time they can.
No, I mean, I think that's a valid point. Absolutely.
So what would this look like if we did hold off to see what the snow days look like? I'm trying to figure out how that would impact, because if we didn't sign it now, I'm thinking as I'm speaking, so you know that my processing is a little slower. Okay. If we don't do this now and we wait until, let's just say February, when we check our snow days. And let's say we use 3 snow days and we go to, let's say we use 1 snow day because we didn't sign this. And so we go to remote days. At that point, if we go back and send this in, we would then be backtracking and going back to in-person days. If we sent this in and this was approved. Once again, I'm processing while I'm talking, and this is probably not making any sense, but if we don't, let me try to, are you getting what I'm saying?
It does make sense. So I think what you're saying is we wait, we hold on it. We have a couple of snow days. And then the protocol for snow days is we take the first 3 snow days.
Yeah.
And then after that, they're hybrid days. But if we might be waiting for an answer or getting this back, and then we're going into hybrid days, and then they get waived. And then where are we at? We have a waiver for 2 days and we're still making kids go to school hybrid
Right.
on days they don't want to be there. I think that's valid.
Or, I mean, if you get to 2 snow days, you already know you're into it. You're already into a problem, right? I mean, so you could submit then before you hit.
Right, but what I'm saying is if we submitted then, we could be waiting for it to hear back from Augusta, and we could be triggering remote days, and then we hear
Yeah.
back that 2 days are waived, so now we're going back to in-person days. It's confusing.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
I think-
see what you're saying.
I think if you roll the dice and you don't request a waiver and then get it granted, then you are potentially creating a situation for yourself where you have more remote days,
Right,
Yeah.
which is not ideal.
no, I would rather have the in-person.
So that's where I think all of us were, on top of the fact that this was completely unanticipated. You had, even in Cumberland County, I mean, we had so many staff who were in a shelter in place, and there was at any point in time, depending on what was happening, very easily could have been Cumberland County in a shelter in place as well. So, anyway, But I think that's the risk you would run. And to me, it made sense to request that those days get waived as, you know, we talked about it certainly as a group of superintendents as well.
Are there any other questions for Jeff right now? Okay, we'll have discussion when we get to it on the new business item. All right, our new 10.0 is a committee update. This is just very quick. Due to some personnel changes, we are switching up a couple of our committees. So just so that we all know here and that the public is aware of what's happening. Jenna is going to become the communications committee chair. Jillian will of course remain on that committee with her. Freyla is going to become the chair of the negotiations committee, and then I will become the third member on the negotiations committee. So that committee would then be John, Freyla, John, myself. Are there any discussion, any questions for me? All right. Perfect. New agenda item 11.0 is new business. 11.1 is a motion to approve the missed school days waiver. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion? I don't love giving away school days at all. But what I worry about is my terrible, and how I would terribly articulated it is the confusion and the back and forth with our families. I think that, and our staff, I think that would create more of a problem later on, potentially later on, than signing this right now. So because of that, I'm in support of this, signing the waiver today, or approving the waiver today, excuse me.
Yeah, and generally speaking, I will tag on to that. I think I would also feel funny, but this was completely out of the realm of anything anybody of us could have imagined. And I mean, there was a tremendous amount of work that was done behind the scenes to get the school up and running again for Monday, and coordinate a late start so that teachers could meet beforehand. So I mean, I think I don't want to forget about that either. But so for that reason, I will be supporting it.
No, I was going to just say something like that, like Jillian did really, but I think also what the teachers and, aside from what the kids were going through and what, they may miss, everything how that we all felt that we were it was just so trying and taxing on everybody. I think it's, you put it behind you and then we just figure out the rest from here and not have to worry about, you just get this, if we can get it, we get it. If not, then, we'll figure it out. But I think it's the best thing to do is to go forward with trying to get it, to approve it and get them dismissed or whatever we're saying.
Yeah. All right, can we call the vote, please?
Sure. Mrs. Gammon,
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher,
Yes.
Miss Leong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Mr. Mayorino,
Yes.
Ms. Harpinian,
Yes.
Mr. Peony Huff,
Yes.
Mr. Shumway, and Ms. Leisure.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 11.2 is a second reading of policy GBEBB, staff conduct with students.
I apologize. You have to listen to me more. We went over this first reading last time. We had no constructive feedback either at the meeting or after the meeting. This is a short but extremely important policy that governs how we expect staff to conduct themselves with students. We did a pretty substantial rewrite from the model, using Brunswick School District as kind of our guide, but even rewriting a lot of language from their school district, their model. I'm not going to read it to you because my voice is not going to last that long. But I'm happy to take any questions. We haven't made any changes from the first reading, so.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the second reading of policy GBEBB, staff conduct with students?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, can we call the vote, please?
Mrs. Gammon,
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher,
Yes.
Miss Leong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom.
Yes.
Mr. Mayorino,
Yes.
Ms. Turpinian,
Yes.
Mr. Peony Huff,
Yes.
Mr. Shumway, and Miss Leisure.
Thank you. The motion is unanimous. 11.3 are appointments. 11.3.1 is a high school one act play co-advisor.
So I'm just gonna refer everyone to for the these
Next
next
slide.
several appointments. I'm gonna turn my microphone on first. To the spreadsheet outlining stipends for high school one act, Blue Point lead teachers, Eight Corner lead teachers, Pleasant Hill lead teachers, the high school winter coaches, and then the middle school winter coaches. There's one modification to the spreadsheet, which is the Pleasant Hill lead teachers for grade 1 was actually going to take that stipend and split it 4 ways. It's actually going to be split 3 ways. So Carly Hughes, Leslie Knight, and Caitlin Jones, that just adjusts their stipend amount to $333.33 as opposed to $250.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so do I have a motion to approve the high school one act play co-advisor?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, can we call the vote, please?
Mrs. Gammon,
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher,
Yes.
Miss Leong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Mr. Mayorino,
Yes.
Ms. Turpinian.
Yes.
Mr. Peony Huff,
Yes.
Mr. Shumway,
Yes.
and Miss Leisure.
Perfect, it's unanimous, thank you. I want to do the first 2 separately, then I'll bundle the next 3, just so everybody knows. And I'm doing that because the next one is the, do I have a motion to approve the agenda item 11.3.2, which is the K through 2 leaded by teachers?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Can we just publish the updated version with the materials? Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, can we call the vote?
Mrs. Gammon,
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher,
Yes.
Miss Leong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom.
Yes.
Mr. Mayorino.
Yes.
Ms. Turpinian.
Yes.
Mr. Peony Huff,
Yes.
Mr. Shumway, and Miss Leisure.
Perfect, it's unanimous, thank you. I'm going to bundle 11.3.3, which is the high school winter coaches, 11.3.4, which is the middle school winter coaches, and 11.3.5, which is the middle school co-curriculars. Do I have a motion to approve the 3 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I can call that vote.
Mrs. Gammon,
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher,
Yes.
Miss Leong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Mr. Mayorino,
Yes.
Ms. Turpinian.
Yes.
Mr. Peony Huff,
Yes.
Mr. Shumway,
Yes.
and Miss Leisure.
Perfect, thank you. The motion passes unanimously. Agenda item 11.4 are the meeting minutes. 10.4.1 is the October 19, 2023 business meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All right, we call the vote.
Mrs. Gammon,
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher,
Yes.
Miss Leong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom.
Yes.
Mr. Mayorino.
Yes.
Ms. Turpinian.
Yes.
Mr. Peony Huff.
Yes.
Mr. Shumway. And Miss Leisure.
Perfect, the motion is unanimous. Thank you. Agenda item 12.0 is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, we call the vote.
Mrs. Gammon,
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher,
Yes.
Miss Leong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Mr. Mayorino.
Yes.
Ms. Turpinian,
Yes.
Mr. Peony Huff,
Yes.
Mr. Shumway, and Miss Leisure. a
Perfect,
good evening.
wonderful. Thank you so much, and everybody have a great evening this evening.